Hey, welcome to Romance Happy Hour. It's another Thursday night, and I'm Dylann Crush here with my co-hostess, Dawn Luedecke, over there.
You got that right. No, see, I can't ever get it
Well,
right.
because
I
I
never
had
get
to
it
point opposite. I know on the screen everything is opposite, so I'm actually thinking that way when you're really that way. But yeah,
Yeah.
I remembered. And we are here tonight with guests Tina Gallagher and Liz Alden. We're super excited to have a chance to talk with both of you. So, Dawn, you want to give us a
Yes.
little update on what's been going on with you since we last saw you?
Well, for me, mostly it's the real estate thing. I just listed my first house, so I've been busy doing
Oh,
that. But
congratulations.
thank you. So other than that, just working on the Cowboy's Kiss and trying to keep up with my kids. I got that teenager and two boys, so yeah.
Well, but
What about you?
one flew the coop, right? I mean, one.
Yes. Yeah, he's in Marine Corps boot camp and
Wow,
doing good. We just got a letter today. I was very excited. I don't
good.
know why I cry every time you read his letters because it's like at the most inane part of the letter is when I start crying and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm crying. But I do.
Oh,
And what about you? You just had a fun week.
I did. I was actually, yes, in Montana, the closest
Yeah.
I've been to Dawn in years, and didn't hear a peep
Yeah.
from you.
I'm sorry. I was too
Not a
busy.
peep,
Look,
Dawn.
I was too busy reading Jeannie. I'm just kidding. I just got this in the mail today. I had to share it. I had to give her a plug because I was like so excited. I was like, what's coming to me from Amazon? Because I forgot that I pre-ordered it. And then I got it. And so I'm like, sweet, because I'm going camping tomorrow. And now
Ooh,
I've got like
amazing.
something to read while I'm
Mhm.
camping. I'm very excited. But
Well,
how was it there?
even though I didn't get to see you while I was in Montana, I had a really good time. We
Yeah.
we
I
we had
got a
fun.
text from you that said that you want to move to Montana now, right?
I said I really, really like it, and I wouldn't mind moving there. I think we had some encounters with wildlife that were a little too close for my comfort. We had
Ooh, do
a
tell.
mouse in our Airbnb,
Oh,
um, and so yeah, I mean, we saw cows and we saw foxes and bison, and I mean, we went to Yellowstone for one day and drove around, so we saw elk and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it was the mouse that was in the Airbnb that bothered me. And I think, I mean, it wasn't the same mouse, so we had multiple visits from
yeah.
from a few different mice. So,
Interesting. Did you
yes.
see my did you see my video? Oh, is it yesterday? About my dog's encounter with wildlife?
I did not.
Yeah, so we have some local deer and they just like
Mm,
to like hang out and feed like and everything. Well, they just discovered my bird feeder
uh-oh.
and that it's pretty tasty. And so um we had one literally on our porch like stealing our bird seed.
Uh-oh.
And my dog went over there and then she was just like, "I'm not scared. I'll take you on." She's
Well,
anyways,
your
I
dog
love
is
wildlife.
the size of a deer.
She's the
So,
size of a deer, but she'd
yes.
probably roll on her belly and try to get them to chase her, you know?
Yes,
So,
probably. I
it's
know.
not that
Our
scary.
animals are way too pampered.
I
I don't
know.
think my dogs would survive outside on their own. So, how about you, Tina and Liz? What is going on with you? Who wants to introduce themselves first? I think I hate it when I do that because then both of you aren't sure if you should say, go or not go. So, Tina, because you're going to read first tonight, why don't you go
Yeah.
first and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you write and
Um,
all that good stuff?
my name is Tina Gallagher. I write steamy contemporary romance novels. I just finished up in the fall my Carolina Wave series. It's baseball romance series about a team set in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Who doesn't like hot baseball players, right? I live in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which people who like The Office always appreciate and always ask a million and one questions about. And I'm actually the book I'm going to be reading from tonight, which is called Foul Pole, is actually set in Scranton. And my next series, which is a pole dance fitness series, is actually set in Scranton too. So I'm kind of moving it home, moving into the hometown and given some people some familiar names that they've heard through the office.
We love Scranton. I mean, if you well, I guess people who have watched The Office love Scranton, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about the pole romance.
Yeah.
Because I got to meet Tina in person when
you
I
did.
went to Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, so we were both in Rhode Island earlier this spring.
Yes.
And when we left there, the hotel burned down. So
and the hotel burned down. And I was actually on a little the call last night with some of the ladies from the Rhode Island trip, and we were talking about the NINC conference that's coming up in the fall, the Writers Conference, and there was a fire at that hotel as well a couple months ago.
Really? Gosh.
The NINC conference, the trade wind. So I'm like, yeah, there's something with these romance writers. I don't know.
They might need to
Because
like
we're just so
cross-reference.
hot.
I know that's what it is. We're
no.
we're spontaneously combusting the places, but yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, we were very lucky.
We might have to start moving our stuff around because that's
Yeah.
not good sign.
Crazy.
So Liz, welcome. First time
Thank
romance
you.
talking, you're a guest. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? And do you want to give us a little info about what you write and maybe
Absolutely.
what corner of the world you're coming to us from?
Yes, I am Liz Alden and I write steamy rom-coms. I am in Rhode Island right now. Nothing's burning, thank God.
Good.
But I do actually live on a sailboat most of the time. So my sailboat is up here in Rhode Island. I'm in an Airbnb right now because my sailboat is unlivable at the moment. So yeah, that's fun. And my books are based on my sailing adventures or my travel adventures. So the first 3 books, including the one I'm going to read from tonight, are set on sailboats.
Oh, that's amazing. Where do you normally sail?
For the past year and the next couple of years, we're going to sail between the East Coast of the United States and the Bahamas. So we spent 5 months last winter in the Bahamas, which was pretty amazing.
How difficult.
Yeah, I know. Cry me a river, right?
Do you ever run into Marie Force on the water up there in Rhode Island?
Marie Force?
Yeah.
No.
She has a boat. She lives up there. She has a boat that she captains, I guess you would use.
Oh, I didn't know that. I do know Trish Dollar and Kay Finley are both boat livers as well. So
Really neat.
yeah, fellow romance authors on the water.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. I had no idea that you lived on a sailboat. That's really cool.
Start a gang.
Yeah. Well, a flotilla, or I'm sure there's a word for like a bunch of pirates that hang out together. So whatever the collective noun is for pirates, there we go.
You'll have to come up with something. Yeah, you'll be like your own romance group of naughty writers or something. We'll see.
Yeah. I'll have to see where Marie Force is because Rhode Island's not that big. So
it's not that big.
No.
No.
So she's somewhere close to Newport because she met us, Dylan and I. We had dinner in our mastermind, and she met us there. So I think she said she was like 20 minutes from Newport. If that, I mean,
well, I'm 20 minutes from Newport, so
yeah, I'm sure if you pop on her Facebook page, it says somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check that out. That's cool.
Yeah, she always has pictures of her boat too. So, and herself captaining it, and her and the dog on it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe I would like to join the ranks of the sailing authors.
I would like to as well.
Although you probably need to know how to sail, or at least that probably helps, doesn't it?
Or have a lot of money. Thank God I know how to sail. So.
Well, if you sail, I'll cook for you. How's that? Can we come and cook? Can we earn our way? Can we what is it? What do they call it when you
swab the deck?
Swab the deck. Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
You're welcome to swab the deck. I like to cook a lot, so I don't think I would give that up. But
we'll swab the deck.
Yeah, cool.
Earn our keep.
So, fun fact, and this is just a teensy tiny one, but my husband and I are both in the Coast Guard, and we met at boot camp, A school. We met in Yorktown at A school, and our first date, I was sailing with some other people, and one of them was a chief, and my husband and I weren't supposed to be dating. And so I told this chief that I was supposed to go on a date. And so he cut the sale, like he brought us back early and took me to Walmart so I could get new clothes to go on my date with my husband. So,
Aw,
but that's fun. I've
cute.
only ever been like sailing in Chesapeake, but I've never been like out to sea sailing.
Were you around Norfolk, the base
Yep.
there? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were there last summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
we lived there in Yorktown for the last 3 years, Dylan, and then moved back home to Montana. So, yeah.
Cool. I
So
went
We
to
were also
Yorktown.
stationed in Boston, not in Rhode Island, but we were up there in Boston and all New Hampshire, all that area.
Very
So,
cool.
Liz, I have a question for you. Have you ever encountered real pirates on the sea?
Mm.
Ooh.
So technically, piracy is defined as any kind of theft that takes place at sea. We have not, that we know of, had anything stolen from us. We have actually sailed in like Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean, and there are some times where local boats approach us, and we don't really know what they want, and that's a little scary. So we try to steer to avoid. But so far, knock on wood, we do have friends who've had stuff stolen, unfortunately.
So is it just you and your significant other, or is it like your whole family or a friend, or?
It's just me and my husband, and we've been on the boat for about 8 years, and we finished a world circumnavigation. So
Wow,
Wow,
cool.
that's amazing.
yeah,
Very cool.
thanks.
Well, I'm sure we'll have lots of questions about that after we hear you read. But
Bring
I
it.
think, should we get into it? Tina's going to read for us first. And you have a setup for us? Are you starting from chapter 1 or what do we need to know?
I am starting from chapter 1, and I apologize. I had a double ear infection last week, which I'm still getting over, so don't mind my nasally voice. But I will do a little bit of a setup. Foul Pole, here's the cover of it, is about the catcher for the Carolina Waves. His name is Leo Maracas. And he has a big Greek family. He lives in New Jersey, normally. That's where his family's from. And he kind of buys a house in Scranton because he went to college in Scranton and he liked it. And it's close enough to his, nosy Greek family that he can kind of be involved, but far enough away that he can have some privacy. He's been having some back issues during the season, so his trainers recommend that he takes yoga classes. And it starts off with him in a yoga class with a guy is the yoga teacher that he used to play baseball with in college. And he's finding out exactly how difficult yoga class is. And it's also kind of the meet. It kind of ends on the not so meet cute of he and Anjanette Peach, who owns the pole studio named Peaches and Pole.
All right.
So that's where we start with Leo in yoga class.
Awesome.
Excellent.
All right. Can't wait to hear it. We are going to let you take the screen here and we'll be back when you're done.
Okay, this is Leo. I shifted into a reverse warrior pose, fighting to keep my balance as every muscle in my body protested the movement. Blinking, I crinkled my nose in an attempt to divert the sweat that somehow still managed to trickle into my eyes, even though I'm looking up at the ceiling. The curses ricocheting through my brain mocked the incense and serenity vibe in the studio, but seriously, this is bull. I've been through every cardio, strength, and flexibility training Major League Baseball has to offer, and I haven't struggled or sweat this much. I've already done all these poses on the other side of my body, and I'm definitely feeling it. At least this hell is almost over. Exhale and come into an extended side angle pose by placing your right forearm on your right thigh. Then extend your left arm and hover it over your ear. I followed Clay's directions, breathing through the discomfort as he had me flow through triangle and half moon poses. Step back to downward dog, and you can rest there for a few breaths, or if you'd prefer, move into child's pose. Oh, trust me, I'd prefer. I lowered onto my knees and, reaching my arms forward, rested my forehead on the mat, thanking every supernatural power in the universe that this torture is almost over. I could have stayed like that forever, but once again, the taskmaster shouted out a command. Okay, he told me what to do in a soft, calm voice, but either way, he was making me move. Shift to a seated position with your legs straight in front of you. My knees cracked as I moved onto my butt and stretched my legs out. The back of my right calf settled into the wet spot my sweaty forehead had created, and I shifted it slightly to the left. Inhale and straighten your spine, then bring your arms straight out to the side and up over your head, reaching toward the ceiling. Draw your spine up and inhale, keeping your torso long. As you exhale, lean forward from your hip joints, not your waist. My hamstring, hips, and lower back protested as I did what he told me. I breathed deeply, compelling my muscles to give into my will. But as I've learned in the past week of classes, it will take more than determination to make things happen. Don't grit your teeth. Keep your face and jaw relaxed, and with each inhale, lengthen your spine, and with each exhale, fold deeper. Imagine your belly coming to rest on your thighs, rather than your nose coming to your knees. Keeping your feet flexed, grab a hold of either your toes or your ankles. My toes? Yeah, right. I glared up at Clay, my jaw clenched. His raised brow and muted smirk would have made me laugh if I had the energy and enough breath. Despite my sneers and groans, it's the first time in a week that he's dropped his professional demeanor during our private sessions. Keep your neck a natural extension of your spine. Don't look up or down. I looked forward again and slicked my hair back off my face before grabbing my ankles. Keep breathing, and if you're able, deepen the stretch with each exhale, Clay said. Sweat dripped off my chin and immediately soaked into my shorts, forming a blotch that got larger with each subsequent drop. He had me hold that pose for what seemed like forever before saying the words I've been waiting for since this torture session started. Release your hold on your ankles and come back to a seated position. Now with your core engaged, exhale and slowly lower your back to the mat. Rest your hands at your sides with your palms facing up and put your feet mat length apart. Close your eyes and transition into Savasana, allowing your body to be just as it is and yourself to be whole and complete, simply lying there breathing. My body felt heavy as I eased onto the mat and my muscles relaxed. I closed my eyes and listened to the soothing background music and focused on regulating my breathing until it settled into a slow, comfortable rhythm. In my opinion, this is the best kept secret of yoga. I think if everyone knew the torturous classes ended with this relaxing pose, they'd be packed. The first few times I did this, my mind wandered, thinking about all the things I had to do once I left the studio, not to mention how much pain I was in. But after just 4 classes, I'm learning to Savasana like a pro. My mind and body totally relaxed, and I enjoyed just lying there. Excuse me, on my mat breathing. Then a beat pounded into my consciousness. I opened my eyes and looked around, trying to figure out its source. I spotted Clay through the glass door of his office. He'd started going in there after my first class when I said the thought of him watching me in Savasana was giving me the Wiggins. Sitting up, I twisted first to the right side and then the left and shook my legs out. I grabbed my water bottle and finished its contents in one gulp. As I swallowed, I identified the song that had intruded on my Savasana. Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas is an awesome song, but not something to listen to while in a state of total relaxation. You have 5 more minutes, Clay said from behind me. I was rudely interrupted by your music. I wasn't playing music. He frowned and cocked his head to the side. The music changed to a slightly slower tempo as Sorry by Buck Cherry started to play. The floors must be finished downstairs. What does that mean? The floor was being refinished in the pole studio downstairs, which is why there haven't been any classes there this week. He looked at his watch. Although there aren't usually classes this late on a Sunday, there anyway, down there or up here, which is probably why whoever is down there wasn't too concerned about blasting the music. I got up and walked across the room to grab a spray bottle and rag off the shelf. Kneeling down, I sprayed down my mat and wiped it clean. I appreciate you meeting with me privately. No problem. I can't have you in my class distracting everyone with that pretty face, he said with a chuckle. Smart ass. But seriously, we'll do whatever works for you. You're the one with the busy schedule. I sat and slipped on my socks and sneakers, then rolled my mat and stood. After returning the spray bottle to its home, I tossed the rag into the hamper. I'm free most any time since it's the off season. So if you need me to come during the day, I can. I reached down and grabbed my water bottle and mat. Mornings or early afternoons might actually be better during the week. I'll text you tomorrow and let you know about it Tuesday. Sounds good. It's getting easier, right? No comment. Well, I see improvement in the few sessions we've had. Your balance is better and you don't seem to be protecting your lower back as much, so it must be loosening up. I do feel more loose, but this is harder than I thought it'd be. When the Waves trainer recommended yoga, I had no idea it'd be so tough. Clay patted me on the back and opened the door. You'll get there. I'll take your word for it. That said, I stepped into the hallway and walked down toward the stairs. I was rounding the landing when the unmistakable thump of fat-bottomed girls pounded out of the open door on the first floor. I jogged the rest of the way down and walked over to peek inside. Holy crap. I never believed in falling in love at first sight, but good Lord, I fell into something the moment I spotted her. With her long limbs, porcelain skin, and platform boobs, she looked like some kind of goddess as she climbed the pole. When she reached the top, she released her left hand and extended her arm out to the side and held on by her right hand and her ankles as she spun around and around. With her body away from the pole, she gripped it with her right hand near her thigh, then wrapped her right leg around the pole and continued to spin with her arms extended. My sister Angie used to have a musical jewelry box with a ballerina inside that would spin around when the top was opened. That's exactly what the woman on the pole looked like. I watched in awe as she straightened her legs and rolled around the pole, then tipped back and hooked her left leg, seeming to hang on by the back of her knee. She arched and grabbed the heel of her right boot as she kept spinning around. I was getting dizzy just watching. She let go of her boot and kicked her left leg back toward her head. And I don't know how it happened, but next thing I knew, she was hanging upside down in a full split. Hooking her left leg around the pole again, she wrapped one arm behind her and grabbed on. Twisting her body, she straightened her legs until she hung upside down with her back against the pole. She looked like a sexy bat. Freddie Mercury continued to sing about how fat bottoms girls make the world go round, and I have to agree. Not that the enchantress in front of me has a fat anything, but her bottom is perfectly rounded, especially in comparison to her slim figure and tiny frame. Releasing her hands, she let her arms hang toward the ground while her knees held her to the pole. She slid down slowly until her fingertips brushed the floor as she continued to spin. Around and around she went until she finally placed her hands flat on the floor, slowing the momentum. Once the spinning stopped, she let her legs fall back until her feet landed against the hardwood floor with a bang. She stood, whipping her hair over her shoulders, and gripped the pole again. Before executing another mind-boggling trick, her eyes widened when she spotted me. Her sky-high heels added a sexy sway to her hips as she walked in my direction. My mind raced as I tried to think of something to say that would accurately convey how much her performance blew me away. But I didn't have to worry about it because she didn't give me a chance to speak. "Show's over," she said, and slammed the door in my face.
Woohoo. Sorry, I'm unmuting
Yeah.
everybody so they can talk.
Love
I love
it.
I
Yeah.
love it. Slam the door in his face. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Deanna said, wow, a pole dancer is so cool.
Yeah.
So, the first question that we're going to ask Tina is, do you have experience taking pole dancing lessons yourself? Because that was some pretty intense description.
I do have experience taking pole dance lessons myself. I do. I started taking pole dance in 2018. I was gonna say it was 2 years before the pandemic. This is how we judge time, right? And then of course I took a year and a half off. And during that time I got a pole in my workout room in my garage. So I do have a pole at my house, and I'm slowly getting back to where I was 4 years ago when I first started, and could actually do things like I was describing in that chapter.
And I'm actually going to pop another question up here because this is just kind of like feeding off the one you just answered. But have you ever done yoga?
Yes.
I could tell.
Yes, I have done yoga. And I had those Leo's thoughts were in my head, as if you can't tell, because it is a hard workout, and it looks so easy. Like you're standing there with your foot against your, front, like tree pose, and you're dying.
Yeah. Love it. Dylan, do you do yoga?
I have done yoga in the past. I absolutely love the hot yoga. But then I had to stop because I got a frozen shoulder, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I got a frozen shoulder doing hot yoga.
Hot yoga.
But
I love yoga. That's one of my favorite workouts. I should probably love running more, but I don't.
Running is so bad for your knees. I mean, that's what I keep telling myself. That's
Well, let me tell you, a little fun fact about running. I did CrossFit a few years ago. Prior to pole dance, I did CrossFit, which I hated, or it was horrible, but I tore the labrum in my hip. And I had to have it operated on. And so I was talking to the doctor and afterwards, and I was saying something about like running or like whatever, what should I be doing? And he said that, he's like, people like you and me aren't built to run. He's like, you see what the marathon runners look like. They're tiny, little, like short. And I said, so can I tell people that my doctor has told me not to run? And he says, you can tell people that your doctor has basically told you cannot run. So I cannot run. So
I love that. I wonder if my doctor would give me a no running.
You could get a note maybe from your doctor.
No running slip from my doctor, like forevermore.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, my sister actually just invited me to go. We're going camping, and she said, "Bring your workout gear. We're going running." And I was just like, I do need to go running with her because if we're gonna do another Spartan, we have to go. I have to go running with my sister.
You
She's
liked
crazy.
running though. You did
I
that
do.
Mother's Day. I mean, that's not how I would picture
Yeah.
something
No,
that
but the
Mother's
Spartan was
Day.
different. It was way cool. It was like I was in boot camp again.
Oh,
But
yay! That sounds like fun.
all right, we have more questions. Let's go to Catherine. What made you decide to make your protagonist Greek?
Actually, it was a friend of mine has a big Greek family, and I just always loved the dynamic between them, and I'm one of 3 children, so like I at least have some siblings, but I don't have that loud, big extended family, and so I kind of like based it off of her.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, and I'm going to give Catherine away, but she lived in Greece.
Oh, okay.
She loves the
Nice.
Greek.
Nice. Yeah, and they're all hot guys with really nice hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leo actually does the shampoo commercial, so.
Oh, fun. Yeah. Well, this one's for both of you. Have you ever resuscitated a project that you shelved? Or even you, Dylan, if you want to answer.
I haven't yet, but the very first novel I tried to write is like 30,000 words sitting on my hard drive somewhere. And I think it's still pretty good. It just doesn't fit in anything that I'm writing right now. And someday I'll pull it out.
I never have.
No?
I'm going to have to find those old flash drives. Search for them.
But you
I
don't.
haven't. I mean, I have the very first manuscript I ever wrote that is not published anywhere. But other than that, and I do have a couple things that are only published, like on Radish and Vela. But no, I don't have anything that I've shelved and had to resuscitate. How about you, Dawn?
Whitewater Passion, and then it got picked up by Kensington. So it was originally a short story, and I submitted it as a short story to, I think, Harlequin in one of their contests. And then that didn't pan out, and so I just shelved it for a while. And then my sister kept bugging me like, "Where's this story? It needs to be bigger. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" So I'm like, "All right, let's do this." So I made it bigger, and it was good enough to get picked up by Kensington, so that's awesome. But yeah, that's my one that's been resuscitated.
Yay!
Yeah. So where are we at? Okay, we got time. I've got 3 more questions. So if you have any more questions, keep posting them because we are loving these questions today. Don't listen to her. Oh my gosh, you don't hear that, do you? Okay.
A little bit, but not a lot. A little tiny bit.
My computer was talking to me. It was something about Johnny Depp.
Nice.
All right, let's see. Where was your favorite writing held?
I think she said retreat underneath it.
Oh, okay, retreat.
Teresa's fingers
writing
got
retreat.
faster.
Sorry, Teresa.
Her fingers move faster than her.
And what made it your favorite?
I have an answer for this one. I just got back, and well, in June I went on a writer's retreat to Umbria, Italy.
Ooh.
Which was amazing. And all I have to say, what made it your favorite? It was Umbria, Italy. It was great. The location was amazing. It was this beautiful villa. My little apartment was beautiful. And it was kind of a perfect blend of touring the Italian countryside and going on wine tastings and going to the cute little towns and hanging out with my writer friends and writing. So it was kind of a nice, perfect combination of the two. It was really nice.
Nice. Awesome. What about you, Liz?
I have not done a writing retreat yet, but I feel like I should host one in the Bahamas next year.
Yeah. I'll go.
Yeah,
Can we be invited to that? I think that would be
We kick my husband off and make it an all romance writers thing. That'd be great.
There you go. I was gonna say you're too busy touring the world to stop at a writer's retreat.
Yeah.
travel away from the boat is hard. So
How about you, Dawn? Have you had any retreats?
I mean, I haven't done a retreat. I have done the conferences, and I think my favorite was New York City. And I think it's because I had my daughter with me, and that was super magical to share with her. So
that'd be fun.
Yeah. What about you, Dylan? You've been to so many things.
Well, I know, but I haven't really done a whole lot of like just writing retreats. I mean, I've been to conferences and stuff like that, but I don't know. I think we just had some of the authors that did so we've done Jingle Balls, we did Tinsel and Tatas last year, and this year we just announced the theme of the charity anthology. We do a steamy rom-com anthology every year. It's Holiday Heart On. And it's going to support the Go Red initiative for women's heart disease. And so there were 8 of us out of, I mean, there's, like 20 of us that have written in that anthology before, but there were 8 of us that got together in Minneapolis this year. And we had a lot of fun, although I honestly don't think I wrote a word. So it's hard to say it was a writing retreat. It was a writer's retreat because we gathered and talked, but yeah, we didn't get a whole lot of writing done, but it was a lot of fun just getting to, because some of those people have worked with now for a couple of years and have never met in person, and so it's always fun. But I also really enjoyed Rhode Island, and that was again kind of, it didn't do much writing, but it was writers getting together. That was a lot of fun,
and we learned a lot. There was a lot.
We learned so much.
A lot of to-dos to come out after that.
Yes.
I do. I mean, I usually do 1 or 2 small retreats a year with like 2 to 4 people in the Pocono. We rent a cabin in the Poconos.
Nice.
Cecilia Macca, who set up our little Newport retreat. Cecilia and I only live about 10 minutes away from each other, so we tend to get together for retreats, and a couple of 1 or 2 of our other friends will join in, and that is literally, we don't leave this cabin in the Poconos, and we write like all day long and eat. And then
I feel like a writer's retreat is what I need, though, because my life is so crazy right now. I need to like disconnect from my kids.
It's nice. I recommend, because you have nothing else to focus on but writing,
right?
Yeah,
which is nice,
right?
Awesome.
And if you do one, just a little bit of a tip. We used to go from depending, now we don't have to go on the weekends because I'm writing full time, but we used to go on the weekends, and instead of going Friday, Saturday, and leaving on Sunday, we started going on Thursday. We gave ourselves an extra day because that first day you get together, you're just going to talk and talk and talk and talk. So if you go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're getting there Friday talking, you have Saturday to write, and then Sunday you're leaving. So at least we give ourselves 2 full days to write by getting there a day early and, getting all our gabbing out of the way.
That's a good tip. Yeah.
Catching up because, we did find, I used to put in my writers group I used to be in years ago, that was an RWA writers group. I used to put together retreats for them, and there was like anywhere from 10 to 15 people going to those. And I learned very quickly that we got nothing done that first night. Nothing.
Because we're all typing away and in our introverted selves.
Along all the time. Like you said, Dylan, you don't see people. Like there are people, you see them online, but you don't see them. That was really that we got nothing done that first.
That's me. I'm sorry.
What are you doing, Dawn?
I was clicking on our video. I'm trying to share it. I want to share it.
All right. Were there any other questions?
There's a couple. Let's do one more, I
Okay.
think, and then hear from Liz. So, because I got this queued up here, ready to go.
All right.
If you were to genre hop, which genre would you like to try writing in?
We've stumped.
I don't know.
Others.
Yeah. I love historical romance, but I always say I don't have I don't even call it the discipline to actually look up all the facts and know everything. I'd have to make an alternate history because historical romance readers, they're on things. They know when the zipper was invented, and
Oh, it's fun though. You get to learn all these things.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably what I would top into, would be historical.
I just wooed my realtor boss giving him a fun fact about the mountains over there in the 1850s.
Yeah. Interesting.
No,
How
I
about you,
love
Liz?
writing historical.
Oh, sorry.
I would probably do like fantasy romance. I think that it's really challenging to world build super well, which is why I don't do it. But yeah, that would be, I mean, I have a lot of books that I really enjoyed reading that are fantasy romance, and I'm in awe of those people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask a question to you, Liz, right now. Here, let me just get this down. How much reading do you do while you're sailing?
A lot.
So,
A lot.
so with that being said, I'm assuming you have you read digitally on a Kindle or something, because I cannot imagine your sailboat has like 500 books in your library.
Yes, yes. Thank God for Kindles. And I've always told my husband, like, if the Kindle breaks, that is the real problem. Like,
Yeah.
pretty much nothing else could go wrong that would faze me as much as my Kindle breaking. Like, it would be trouble.
I can't imagine being stranded in the middle of the ocean with nothing to read. I mean, that would be, I don't know. That'd be one of those, when you play those games, like, what's the worst thing that could happen to you?
Yeah. And so do you like just go into a port and then be like, okay, well, I got to download this many books to get me through to the next port? Or do you like have so many in there already that you're good to go?
When we would do big passages, like big being 5 days or longer, I would basically like sit there and I would max out my library loans. And then like if I had KU, I would max out my KU. And but nowadays my TBR is just so big on my Kindle alone that I kind of leave it be and just catch up on things. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm trying to get into audiobooks, because that would be like great to listen to audiobooks while sailing, but I struggle with them. So,
well, and how would your husband feel? I mean, is he a good supporter of the romance genre, or would he be like, okay, babe, there's only so much I can hear about, her perky breasts, before he goes.
Earbuds on, earbuds.
He's a big supporter. We do listen to audiobooks together.
Nice.
And I have recommended a few books for him to read that I thought he would particularly enjoy, and he's read them. And even once he did a reread, and I was like, "Ooh, you liked it so much! Yay!" So, and of course he reads all my stuff. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, should we leave the rest of the questions for after, and
sure.
And let's hear from Liz. Do you have anything you need to set up for us, or?
I'm going to start at chapter 2. So this is the sailor in Polynesia. Ta-da, there's my cover. And I'm going to apologize in advance because a lot of my characters are international and I am not going to do accents. So you will have to use your imagination. If I could do accents, I would have done my own audiobooks by now. And no. So the only setup you need to know is that the main character, Mia, is in French Polynesia, and she is bored, all alone.
Okay. So. All right. We'll leave you to it. We'll see you when you're done.
Okay. All right, y'all. So, chapter 2. My boat, Willina, was an excellent place for hiding, and also for being a creeper, or spy if you wanted to sound fancy. I watched my new neighbors from the windows of my salon, confident no one could see me in the porthole. They were too busy to notice me anyway. The two from the bow were obviously a couple. They puttered around, tidying the boat up, staying close to each other, and I could hear their occasional laughter drift over. The tanned brunette had disappeared below, so that left me watching the skipper. Which was the best option of all? This guy was tall and lean, and he'd bent to work inflating a stand-up paddleboard. I could barely see what he was doing, but I was curious about the brand of paddleboard it was. I could barely make out an A and a P. Binoculars were helpful. Yes, I could definitely read the name of the paddleboard company now. There was a lot of muscle flexing going on. I'd never inflated a stand-up paddleboard before. I always wanted one and nearly had a sponsor give me one, but I had to back out. So I didn't know how hard it was. but based on the way this guy's muscles were moving, it was quite a workout. I nibbled my lip. I might have been a bit deprived lately. Once the board was inflated and pushed into the water, I watched the man climb down and stabilize himself. The brunette came out of the boat and handed him something. I couldn't tell what it was. He placed it on the board between his feet and pushed off his boat and pointed directly at me. "Oh crap," I muttered, still peeking through the binoculars. I watched him paddle toward me, strong arms stroking a few times on each side before switching. I shook myself. Time to stop peeping before he gets close enough to notice. "Hello," a man's voice called out. I stepped into the cockpit and looked toward the starboard side. At the gunwale a few feet away, strong fingers gripped the rail, and a moment later, a blonde head popped up. His hair was pulled back in a bun, his skin tanned and eyes hidden behind sunglasses. When he saw me, his eyebrows rose and his mouth fell open. Hi, I called back, not moving from my cockpit. He stared at me briefly and then shook himself. Yes, I have a gift for you." He had a thick accent that must have been Norwegian, and his fingers twitched nervously on the rail. Despite the minor annoyance of my busy afternoon being interrupted, naps were important, I was intrigued. Who came bearing gifts to total strangers? Reaching down, he lifted the gift, a fillet of tuna in a plastic bag. We caught this on the way here from Rangiroa, and even though there are 5 of us on board," he trailed off and his mouth opened and closed a few times. "That looks like tuna," I supplied. For whatever reason, he hastily started opening the bag and then tried to pull out the fish. "You don't have to." In doing so, he let go of Alina and started to drift away. When he noticed, he lunged for the gunwale again, throwing himself off balance. I watched in horror as he and the tuna fillet plunged into the water. I scrambled to my knees. His boat had just come in, and he may not know. "Get out, get out, get out," I chanted as he surfaced, the tasty morsel of tuna bobbing next to him. "Sharks swim around here all the time." His sunglasses were gone, so I saw his eyes widen. Thankfully, he was still tethered to the paddleboard, so he turned and grabbed it, lunging to climb on. I saw the moment he made the decision, but I could only watch in horror as he swept his hand through the water and scooped up the tuna. Safe on his knees on the paddleboard, he panted and rubbed his hands over his face. He cursed in Norwegian. "Are you okay?" I asked. He held up one hand and pinched the bridge of his nose with the other. "I know I should not have done that." "Which part? The falling in or the scooping up?" I teased, trying to lighten the mood. He laughed darkly. "Why don't you come on board? I'll put the tuna away, and if you need a shot for fortitude, I've got tequila." He smiled weakly without meeting my eyes and then paddled over. I helped him up, and when I turned to follow him into the boat, a shadow in the water caught my eye. I only made it a few steps before I ran into his back. He stood at the bottom of the stairs, his eyes tracking all over the salon. I cleared my throat, and he shook himself as he moved out of the way. "So you arrived from Rangiroa?" I asked, fishing out the bottle of tequila from the cabinet. There were only a few inches left in the bottle, but I waggled it at the man anyway. He swallowed and nodded. My muscles still felt jumpy and quivery, the adrenaline working through my system, and I hadn't even been the one in the water. I fished out 2 clear plastic tumblers, cloudy with age and remnants from Walina's previous owners, and sloshed a finger of tequila into each one. "Cheers." I offered up my glass, and he clinked his with mine and quickly tossed the tequila back. With his chin raised, the long column of his throat throbbed as he swallowed, and I turned my attention to my glass. I wasn't a big tequila drinker, but sometimes it was called for. I tossed mine back too, grimacing. Then I busied myself with the tuna, chopping it, sealing it, putting it in the fridge. My guest stood in the center of the cabin, his gaze flitting around. I saw the guy run his hands over his face, and then he actually laughed. When he caught me watching him, he broke into a smile that lit up his whole face. "I cannot believe I am here. This is surreal. You always filmed your outros in that corner." He pointed to the couch with the globe behind it. "And I remember there used to be a heater in here that you ripped out." "Oh," I said, realization dawning on me. "You've watched my videos." While it was true that in the whole scope of the internet, my little sailing videos were moderately successful, one of the unexpected pleasures of making videos was how passionate the audience was. When Liam and I had left Walina in Apataki and flown home to Seattle, We had thrown a little meet and greet. It was our first public event, and we walked into the bar thinking that there was an office happy hour going on. But no, it had all been for us. People had taken time out of their lives to come meet us, and in some cases, they'd even driven up from Portland. We had spent the entire night talking with like-minded people, fellow sailors and future sailors who had watched our videos and learned from us. I left feeling energized and nostalgic to get back to the boat, something I desperately needed at the time. So I was, in a sense, mildly famous, and I had an enthusiastic and nervous fan on board. Yes, he said, they were amazing. You did a great job with them. Well, thank you. I held out my hand. I'm Mia. Yeah, I know. He grinned and shook my hand enthusiastically. I leaned in and stage whispered, that's my way of asking what your name is. He laughed and palmed his forehead, pulling his hand away. Ah, of course, Jonas. Standing in Walina, he made the space look small. He must have been around 6 feet tall, and he towered over me as he carefully made his way around the boat, ducking slightly to protect his head. Jonas looked around the boat, and I braced myself, expecting him to ask about Liam. Instead, he turned around and gave Walina a once-over. She looks good. You have worked hard on her, he said approvingly. Thank you, I said. She was hauled out for nearly a year, and it was tough to have the boat out of the water for so long, especially one that shows her age like Walina. His eyes turned to me, and they were startlingly blue. You haven't made a video in a while. Right. Well, I let my words trail off, not knowing how to explain to a total stranger that I wasn't very inspired to create anything right now. I finally went with, I don't have any internet out here. He nodded, accepting my answer. How long have you been here? A few weeks. I saw a few people on your boat. Are you the owner or crew? Eek is all mine. My brother is with me, his girlfriend, and 2 other crew members. I raised my eyebrows. That's a pretty full boat. He chuckled. Some days it feels more full than others. Well, thank you for the tuna, I said, and his face fell. Yeah, of course. He hesitated before climbing up the companionway and into the cockpit, with me following closely behind. Before he could climb down onto his paddleboard, he stopped and palmed the back of his neck. How much longer will you be staying here? I shrugged. I'm not sure yet. I don't have any plans. Okay. He hesitated and looked out at his boat. If you need anything. Thanks, I said. Same to you, being neighbors and all. I helped Jonas climb onto his board and then waved goodbye while he paddled away. Most boats that had passed through here only stayed a night or 2. It was unlikely that Eek would linger, so soon I'd be alone in the anchorage again. I needed to get better at entertaining myself. The end.
All right, coming back.
Hey, y'all.
I know it always takes a second. It probably feels like the longest 3 seconds the entire evening as you're waiting to make sure we haven't vanished on you. Oh, that was fun. It was really cool to hear all of the like boat references and stuff. So
Yeah,
Thank you.
very fun.
Well, we do have 3
go ahead.
questions. I think we can get them done before the end of the show here. We told you guys it was going to go fast. It goes really fast. What is your favorite time of day to write? And I'm sorry I cut you off, Dylan. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. We'll let Liz answer this one first since you
All right.
read.
I think my favorite time of day to write would be first thing in the morning because it feels like super productive to get your writing done for the day.
I agree.
Yeah.
I am the total opposite. I'm a night writer. I usually don't start writing until about 10 o'clock at night, and I usually write through to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
There have been times my husband was going to work for 7 a.m. and I'm still awake writing if I'm really on, the words are flowing well. So yeah, I'm a night owl, so nighttime is definitely my time to write.
I was just gonna say, like, when do you sleep though?
If I work until 4 or 5 in the morning, I'll go to bed and I sleep until about 10.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I always want to be the nighttime writer because like my day is so full. I've got 4 kids. I don't know if you 2 know that, but I got 4 kids. Well, 3 now. One's in boot camp. So he
still counts.
He still counts.
He's still taking up a major chunk of your brain.
Yeah. True. That's true. Emotional chunk.
Yeah.
But I just like morning is like for me the most productive, and I wish I could do nighttime. I do.
Yeah.
But see this is what gets me at night.
One thing I like about the night is that it doesn't interfere with anything else. So especially now, and I honestly, I think I got writing. I mean, I am a night owl, but I got started right because when I worked during the day, I used to write at night, and I used to write. Used to start writing when my kids went to bed.
Yeah.
But now I like it because it doesn't interfere with anything else during the day. If I make a doctor's appointment or if I end up going out to lunch with somebody, it's not like, oh crap, I missed my time to write. So
Yeah.
That's true. Like I have a very unusual schedule, and so a lot of times it's a struggle to have that space free in the morning, which is hard.
Well, and I would think that too, with you going all around the world on a sailboat, like your mornings are very different. Like your sleep schedule probably gets off a little bit too.
Yeah,
just moving around.
I can't write at all when we're actually sailing.
No.
Because I'll get seasick, and we have a weird sleep schedule and stuff. So
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so the next one is, let's see, 36. Sorry, I write these down the times. Have any of you thought to write reverse harem?
I have not. I do read a little bit of reverse harem. I was talking to someone the other day and telling them like, I don't really read it. And then she was like, well, what have you read? And I was naming all these series, and she was like, well, that's the big ones. So I guess I have the canon down, but no, I haven't thought about writing it.
Yeah, I haven't thought about writing it either.
How about you, Dylan? Getting spicy?
Not under this. Yeah, not under Dylan Crush. I plead the fifth on whether or not I have ever written a reverse harem.
Oh my goodness,
Dylan Crush has never written a reverse harem.
Dylan Crush.
I'll just
all right, viewers, get that little like.
Yep.
Dylan Crush.
Dylan Crush has ever written reverse harem.
Right. How about you, Dawn?
No, and you know why? Because I write soulmates, and I just cannot bring myself to give her more than one soulmate. I mean, soulmates are soulmates, and I think that's why, because I just can't ever. I couldn't even. I was like talking about it the other day, I think with my husband, and I'm just like, I can't do it because it's not a love story. And I like to write that love story that is never gonna end, no matter what. So.
I would totally argue against that point.
Yeah. I mean, I've read some reverse harems where they are all soulmates together, like they're fated mates, So I think it's very much a romance love story.
I think it just depends on how you look at it. So I mean, I would think that, in my opinion, I agree with Liz, but yeah.
Interesting.
That's wonderful about romance is there's something for everyone.
Yes. There is, and everybody has a different view of things. Like you guys see, I view soulmates as there's only one for you. Like there's one soulmate for me, so I can't imagine ever having anybody other than my husband. And so like that's where I'm at. Like soulmates, there's just one. But you guys are like soulmates, there can be more than one. So it's interesting. And the great thing about romance is that it's about love, and love is about like what you view it as. And so everybody can view love as something different. That's what's amazing about romance. So
agreed.
Yeah. And so we got one more. How long have you been writing for? When were you first published?
I started writing Camp NaNoWriMo Camp NaNoWriMo in 2018. And I published my first book in 3 years later. No. I started writing my first book 2 years, I wrote stories, and then the book that became my first published book, I started in April 2020. It was a pandemic baby, and published it a year later.
Wow.
I bet you don't have a lot of problem with pandemic out there.
We got really lucky. We ended up being in Antigua during the pandemic for
Oh,
most of it.
nice.
Nice.
But we had a lot of friends who were really caught in bad situations where countries weren't letting them in or weren't giving them supplies.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, it was really a scary time for a lot of people,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
my husband was out to sea during the Coast Guard at that time, and they literally could not even come. They could come to the pier, but they weren't allowed to even get off the boat. So they had like, I think he almost did that whole year, not even getting off the boat onto the pier. And I mean, you talk
Oh,
about
wow.
cabin fever, right?
Yeah, seriously.
That's a lot of personal dynamics to deal with over that time
Yeah.
frame. I just have my husband and I love him very much. So
Yeah.
How about you, Tina?
Oh, geez. I've been writing for over 20 years, 22, 23 years, writing for publication. My first book was published in 2007. I was published with traditionally initially. I had 6 books out with a small press from 2007 to, I think it was like 1 book a year. And then decided to strike out on my own, and I published my first indie book in 2018.
Nice.
I think a lot of indie books were born around, well, of course, it seems like indie books have been being born, since kind of it opened up for indies. But yeah, it seems like a lot of people that I talk to seem to be like around that 2018 to 2020 area. So
Yeah.
how about you, Dawn? When were you first published? And how long have you been writing?
I think I wrote my first one in 2010, and then it was my second book was published in 2011, and that was traditional and with a small press, and I kind of snowballed from there. So, and then indie, I started getting indie 2018, I think, is when you and I kind of met and started doing romance happy hour, right? 17, 18. That's about the start of my indie. Or my hybrid, I should say. But
Yep.
Yeah. About you?
I was trying to think of that when we were talking about it. I think I started writing, like getting serious about writing in probably 2016 or so. And then I pursued traditional publication first. And so then, I got my agent, and then I signed a book deal, but then it didn't, it took 18 months for it to come out. So
I think
very long process for trad.
People that started from, I would say before, I don't know, 12, 15. I mean, with me anyways, it was like you had to go trad. And so, and it takes so long to go trad that you're just waiting. And then the whole indie stuff started really picking up. And then people realized, hey, I don't have to sit here and wait a year for them to tell me no.
The barriers were removed. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, was that our last question? Because
that
we are
was
pushing right up against an hour, which
I'm actually surprised though. That we managed to get those questions out before the hour. I'm happy with us.
Do you have any other questions for our guests?
I don't.
Okay.
I think I answered.
All right. We don't have we have a couple of viewers that come and ask a ton of questions. So yeah, this was a very well-paced evening.
Very good paced.
Thank you both for being with us. I just want to remind everybody that we've got a giveaway up on the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page. So head over there and check that out, because we've got some books up for grabs. And Tina, you want to tell people where the best place is to find you, and anything else you want to leave them with?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Fun Sexy Romance Tina Gallagher readers group. Feel free to join. I have a Facebook page as well. I'm also on TikTok at Tina Gallagher Author is my handle. And I'm also on Instagram at Tina Gallagher Author as well.
Okay. All right. How about you, Liz?
Pretty much all the same. Liz Alden Writer, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, newsletter.
Book club. I forgot about book club. Thank you for book.
And Goodreads. We gotta just throw them all in.
I pretend I'm not on there because I don't look on there at all, but I am on Goodreads and BookBub as well.
All right. Well, some people have preferences, or it shifts. I remember when Twitter, for me at least, was a very active place, and now I hardly ever go on Twitter. And now you mentioned TikTok, Tina, and it's like, oh, I'm trying to be better about TikTok. I love watching videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
Them. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we will leave the giveaway open through Sunday night. So if you have a chance to get over there and check it out, we hope you will. And Dawn, we will be back again in August. I can't believe the summer has literally flown by. I don't know how it can be August already.
I know. And then literally one more show and then my kids are in school for the second one. And I'm like, sweet, thank you, God.
Yeah, that's hard to imagine.
School.
I cannot even imagine. I'm going to be taking my my oldest to college.
Right.
We'll have one more show before my oldest leaves for college. Yeah, that just doesn't. I don't know.
Are you okay?
I'm mostly okay.
Okay.
Mostly okay. I think it will be very difficult when the moment arrives, but now it's starting to get real.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun chatting with both of you, and we will be back in a couple weeks. Yeah. So, all right. Everybody have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.